welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. And over there, you will find all of our over 400 episodes, our favorite resources page, our sponsor page, which if you need anything, if you can give them your business, that would be great because they make this podcast possible. Mm-hmm. Also, you'll find information about our Patreon offerings and the different tiers over there. And you will find information about, you won't find information about this, but I'll tell you right here. We're still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. So you can write a review, you can leave stars, you can do whatever you want or can on your podcast app and send a screenshot over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And we will send you a goodie bag of stickers and thank you for nursing in public cards. And people are doing it. I said, wow, I just dropped my phone. We still have, this week, I do have some addresses that I'm going to send over to Dianne, who will pack the bags and send them out. So we do it every week.
We do it every week.
Go ahead and do it. And don't be shy. And I think that's all.
Yeah. And it really helps the podcast. It helps us to kind of like show up better. Yeah. So that's why we like to have them. Are we ready for my review of the week?
Sorry. Dianne has our review of the week.
Okay. And it comes from a fellow LC, which I love. So a fellow lactation consultant. I love listening to these two lovely ladies speak about everyday real issues as well as special topics related to breastfeeding. Give it a listen. You won't regret it. Short and sweet. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do a lot.
Yeah. You don't have to. Yeah.
But I love that we have some fellow LCs listening. That's amazing. And I love having you all here with us. So thank you very much. And thank you for putting that out there for us too. We love it.
Yeah. You have as an LC, you would really have the opportunity to influence people, in a good way or a bad way. And having the good information is the best way to help people.
And we sent you some nursing in public card. Thank you for nursing in public card. So that's kind of a fun thing to have as an LC.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you. But today we're going to talk about breastfeeding after a C-section, which I think we've talked about before, but not in quite a while. But we did get a message about this recently, and we thought we would do it again just to have it out there, have the info out there. But do you want to read the email first?
We got an email and I'm going to read it. It's from Stevie. She says that she's currently pregnant with her fourth baby, and this will be the first time that she's breastfeeding. This will also be her fourth C-section. So first time breastfeeding, fourth C-section. So she knows the C-section game really pretty well, but not the breastfeeding portion along with it. Her C-section is scheduled for December 19th.
Coming up.
And if you are listening to this podcast on the first day that it's published, it is December 16th. So she's very close, and we're excited to hopefully she is able to listen to this before. Anyway, so there's more. I knew that C-sections could make breastfeeding more difficult in the beginning, so I went on a search for information related to breastfeeding, particularly after a C-section. Thank God Google came through, and your podcast was one of the first to pop up with an episode specifically about that. I was immediately hooked. I've been binging episodes for a few weeks now, and you both have given me the confidence and information to get over any hurdles I may face. I'm looking forward to having a successful breastfeeding relationships for as long as I want. If you could do an updated episode on breastfeeding after a C-section, especially those first days in the hospital and that first week home, I would absolutely eat it up. There's just not that much information out there specifically related to breastfeeding and C-sections. I've learned so much, laughed just as much, and now I can't wait to just get this baby out and on my boob. Thank you for everything. Keep up the badass work. I can relate so much to the get the baby out. I just remember that feeling of just like, get this baby out. Like, I don't care now. Just do it. just get it out. It sounds so cruel, but I feel like you can't understand it unless you've been like 42 weeks pregnant.
Oh my gosh. I know.
You're just like,
I know
oh my
it.
God.
I know it.
And I remember walking into my doctor's office like at 42 weeks, and she was just like, oh, you look bloated. And I'm like,
you look bloated?
Yeah. I was like, up yours. And like, yeah. She's like, oh, like, I'm like, don't even pull the whole, like, what's the thing, the high blood pressure thing that comes and like bloating.
Oh, preeclampsia?
Yes. Because she was like trying to pull that. And I was like, no, I'm 42 weeks pregnant. Get the baby out.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I remember when I worked at this pregnancy program for the inner city population.
Yeah.
And they were hilarious. I had this one mom that she was like, if I'm not done by 40 weeks, I'm just going to go to the hospital and tell them I'm in labor. I'm like, they will know if you are not in labor. Like, they're going to know. You can't just show up there and be like, all right, it's time.
Fake the labor.
I know. Like, they're going to know.
But man, anyway.
I know. I think everybody feels like that towards the end. And I'm always like, oh, enjoy it. It's like, it's such a limited time and try to enjoy it. I hated being pregnant. So
I didn't like it either. Especially when you're so pregnant that like you can barely eat because it doesn't go down. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just like you eat it, you swallow it, it goes down a few inches and that's it. And you're like, and then like all you want to do is eat, but like it literally doesn't fit. It's just ridiculous.
I know, it doesn't fit.
So sorry. We're like, if Stevie's listening to this on December 16th, which I'm going to tell her too, she's like, stop talking about this, guys. I'm sitting here living this. Stop it.
Move along. All
right, we'll move along.
Sorry about that. But now I had a C-section. I wonder, and she didn't say why she didn't breastfeed the first couple of babies, but I'm wondering if the C-section had anything to do with it. Like, I'm really kind of curious about that. But she didn't say. But I had a C-section with my twins. So, and Abby did not have a C-section with her babies. But my first baby was a vaginal induction. My second two babies were my twins, and they were a C-section. And I mean, I was pretty nervous, as a first time C-section. Like, Stevie's got it down. Like you said, it's her fourth.
Yeah.
The one thing though that I learned when I was working in the hospital setting was that the more C-sections you have, of course, the riskier, they can be risky, but they take longer because there's scar tissue and everything else that they're also going through when they do that C-section. So that it might be a little bit longer than the one that she had previous. So that might be a little bit nerve-wracking, I think, to parents, especially if you don't know that. Be like, what's taking so long? Where's my baby?
Yeah.
But for those of you now, C-sections are pretty common now. Like we've had, do you have any idea like I think it's like 1 in 3 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like really
nationwide.
I don't know. All I know is that like I heard this one hospital near us had like a 42% C-section rate, which is so high.
God, that is so high.
But there are hospitals like that, where it's just if you're having a baby there, you're just you're likely going to have a C-section if there's any.
There's places I've done. I have a presentation that I've done for different organizations and things like that, which is about C-sections after deliveries. And some places around the world, C-section deliveries are very, very, very common and the rates are very high. So when we say here, it's 1 in 3, some other people that might be listening from other places around the world might be like, oh, that's nothing. Here it's everybody.
Yeah, right.
So it is, they're really pretty common. And Stevie's right. They don't really talk about breastfeeding after a cesarean delivery because I don't know why, honestly. But they should. We should be talking about it more. I know when I used to teach classes, I didn't talk about it all the time because I didn't want people to, I don't know, for some reason, I didn't want people to think that they were going to end up with a C-section, which is kind of silly because 1 in 3 people out of a class of 8, 1 in 3 would.
Yeah.
So we should have probably talked about it more than we did, but we always just talk about, breastfeeding in general. But there's a few things I think that people should probably do a little bit differently. First of all, with the C-section, you can ask them to put the baby right on you now while they're still completing the C-section, which is really nice. And especially if you have a planned C-section and they can have, like, if it's not an emergency and they're like, oh my gosh, we got to get this baby out, they're not going to plan to have the baby to be able to be skin to skin with you. But if you are having a planned C-section, you might be able to kind of set that up. And a lot of places will do that now. Well, they'll let you have the baby skin to skin with you right after the baby's been taken out, which is really nice.
And helpful for breastfeeding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely helpful for breastfeeding. So that is a perfect thing to try to do. Typically, you can breastfeed the baby as soon as you're in recovery. They'll try to put the baby on you for breastfeeding in recovery. Try to get as much skin to skin time as you can, because research has shown us that parents that have had C-section deliveries have way less skin to skin time than people that have vaginal deliveries. And that makes such a huge difference with breastfeeding. So really, really try to get that skin to skin time. It's hard because you're groggy from the medications and you're uncomfortable and you can't move around very well. Really try to have it set up where that baby is on you skin to skin for as much as you possibly can. That's going to be really, really important when it comes to breastfeeding and your milk supply. Now, keeping up with medications is really important too, and just keeping up on top of that. And I think a lot of times people are nervous about the medication, like the painkillers. I mean, that they're giving you afterwards, because you don't want it to go to the baby and all of that stuff, but they wouldn't give it to you if it wasn't okay. I mean, you're in the hospital setting.
Yeah.
You can totally
They're
have
not
it.
trying to create more emergencies for themselves.
Exactly. No, they are not. It is really important for you to stay on top of the pain, especially in the first, 24 to 48 hours. Really stay on top of the pain.
Yeah. I remember that. Like, I had a nurse came in and was like, you didn't have your meds, like, at the last interval. And I was like, oh, I didn't need them. She's like, no, you have to take them, whether you need them or not. You need to, whether you feel in that moment like you're in pain or whatever, you need to just keep taking them. Because once you start feeling pain and now you're dealing with pain, it's going to make everything so much worse.
Yeah, you definitely want to stay on top of it. And I mean, a C-section delivery is major abdominal surgery.
Yes,
it's no joke.
No, I can't. I can't even. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine having to deal with all of the things that you're dealing with a newborn baby, and then also major surgery.
Yeah, and there can be some complications that go along with it. Unfortunately, like we keep saying, Stevie's been through this, so she kind of knows. Yeah. But I've had people with C-sections that have had like an allergic reaction to the adhesive from the closure of the wound. I have had people that have had to have drains put in, because of the infection, like their incision got infected. There's other things that can happen on top of it, which can be pretty invasive to your breastfeeding relationship. Like this can be, it can be hard to stay focused on the breastfeeding, but that is a really important piece. So while you're in the hospital, definitely take it easy, keep up with your medications, and feed the baby as much as you can. Make sure there's somebody with you to help you, to get the baby for you, so that you don't have to give up. Like that was one of the things that I didn't do. And I remember that really clearly, even now, like 22 years later, that my ex-husband had gone home because we had my other son that was only 2 years old at the time. So he went home with him.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anybody there with me. And it was middle of the night and they're cluster feeding and I'm trying to get up and get them and change diapers and move around.
And there's two of them.
And there was two of them.
Oh,
and it
my
was,
God.
I had them all confused. I didn't know who was who at one point. Like it was a mess. I was such a mess. And I had to have like a nurse come in and help me. So I mean,
which one is
I was like, who is who? I had to change a diaper to figure out who the hell was who. It was
at least
like,
they were different sexes, so you could like open the diaper. Oh my God!
I was so out of it, and It was a lot. So definitely try to keep somebody there with you all the time. Even if your husband has to go back, see if a friend or another family member or somebody, don't just be like, oh, the nurses can come in, because I mean, they're not going to come in and stay with you. You know, they're not going to help you like that. So try to have somebody with you so that during the night is not going to be as difficult and you don't have to get up. And I mean, you're going to have to get up a little bit because they want you to walk and all that stuff, but you're going to need to rest too. Your body needs to rest. So you definitely want some help.
Yeah, this is really like a thing where, because, you know, anybody and everybody having babies should be really taking care of themselves. Like, we're so focused on the baby in the hospital. We're so just like, oh my God, we have to check the baby 8 million times, even though that he's sleeping. Let's wake him up again. And like, nobody's really paying attention to the mom.
I know.
Or you know, and it's like, when you have a C-section, you're really forced, because you just can't, like, you literally can't do a lot of things, and you're really forced to just be like, okay, I literally can't stand up again for the 10th time in a row, you know, this hour. So yeah. I mean, it's all of these things that you should be doing, that everyone should be doing, the relaxing and the having the help, and which I know really not everybody has, but
if you can do it,
if you can
do it, it is important to try to do it.
And hopefully after, like, Stevie, because I mean, like, when I had my first, I didn't know anybody who had a baby. But by the time I had Exley, I had all kinds of friends who had babies. So hopefully you have people who know that you need help, and you have like actual resources to dip into. Like, hey, can you stop by, you know, at some point?
Yeah. And they know what kind of help you need, which is nice too.
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing in the hospital is, and especially for people who are new breastfeeders, like she will be, a lot of times they will have you put the baby in the football hold, which is on the side of the body, because that way nothing's across the front of you, which is helpful. Because having a baby laying on top of that incision might not be very comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never really comfortable with football hold, but it is a really good position to do with a brand new baby when you do have a C-section. So that is a good thing to do. But you can have them show you how to do other holds, just so that you kind of have it, so that you can choose from things. If you're not comfortable in a football hold position, then you can do other positions as well. Have a pillow, have something kind of that the baby can lay on top of, so that they're not directly, you know, on your incision or anything like that. Just do, like we keep saying, do lots of skin to skin. Do lots of skin to skin with that baby as much as you can. And I mean, we kind of take for granted that vaginal deliveries, that you can just do this skin to skin and it's fine, but it is a little harder with C-section deliveries, and they just don't get that same skin to skin time. So trying to keep that in mind is really important to do that. The baby's going to be eating every 3 hours. They're going to tell you to feed the baby every 3 hours. The baby might want to feed more than that, which is fine. Or you might have to wake the baby up. Remember, the baby had the medications that you had during that C-section. So the baby might be a little bit groggy as well. It might not be feeding as well. The other thing with C-section deliveries is, with vaginal deliveries, it's kind of cool because babies get like squeezed as they're coming through the vaginal canal. And a lot of the gunk that's in their lungs and in their, you know, in their system gets pushed out when they're kind of getting that compression with the contractions. When they are born C-section, they don't get that. So they get pulled out and they have more gunk in them. So it's kind of like, can be kind of like, we used to always call them like gunky, but like fluid. They could have fluid in there. They could be spitting up a little bit more spitty. They're spitting up amniotic fluid. They might not feed as well the first couple of feedings because they have stuff already in their stomach. And it's just kind of like a process of them just kind of getting all that stuff out.
Yeah.
So you see that more with C-section deliveries too.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. But it's pretty common. So, and she probably, especially since she's been through that before, she's probably like, oh yeah, I've seen that, but it can impact the way they feed. And when you're breastfeeding, of course, babies have an option whether or not they want to breastfeed. When they bottle feed, they don't really have that option. So you might see it a little bit more, where they're just kind of like more sleepy. They'd rather sleep at the breast than eat.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, so it can be a little bit hard.
Yeah.
They might have you, if the baby's not feeding well, they might have you do some pumping, which is normal. You can do some hand expressing of colostrum and feeding it to the baby that way. If the baby's not interested in having a lot to eat right away, do some hand expressing, just making sure that they're not pushing formula feeding if that's not what you want. So you can pump, you can hand express, just enough to get it, some colostrum into the baby is all really that you need to worry about doing. And then just try the next time, more skin to skin, and trying to latch them after that, next time.
Yeah. I mean, depending on where you are, I guess they will push formula. Well, just a little bit, just a little bit in the beginning, just a little. And yeah, you can just try to say, I don't want, I'm going to hand express some colostrum, and hopefully the baby will nurse, but
yeah. But they can, like I said, they can be a little sleepy. He will nurse. They will nurse, but they can be a little bit sleepy in the beginning.
Yeah.
So more so than typical,
you can even
just
say,
because of the meds.
Yeah. And say like, no, I talked to my lactation consultant before, I came here, and we agreed that I would try like hand expressing colostrum.
And there should be a lactation consultant, hopefully, for you to see there as well. And they can help you with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, definitely try to get some, hand express some colostrum. Your milk, this is the fourth baby, so your milk will be in a little bit faster too. First time parents, milk takes usually, about 3 days to come in. If you are the more, I don't want to say the more babies you have, but you have more milk with each baby, and the milk comes in a little bit faster because your body's already been through it. So it comes in a little bit faster. So you might even notice that, before you even leave the hospital. People are not staying in the hospital that long anymore. Yeah. It used to be, C-section delivery used to be 3 days, and they're not staying 3 days anymore. At least not where I am.
Yeah.
They're getting out of there pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know where she is, but they get out of there pretty quickly now. So that can be a little bit hard. So in the hospital, like we said, the things to kind of keep up with are make sure you're keeping up with pain medication, feeding the baby in a football hold position on the side of the body, or laying down if you can get somebody to help you with the laying down position, because it could be a little bit hard for you to kind of maneuver yourself into different positions because of the incision. So having somebody there to help you. If you can get up and into a chair, that's a little bit better. Sometimes that's hard to do after a C-section, but having the stability of a chair can be a little bit more helpful with positioning. Mm-hmm. So just kind of keep that in mind. Bring a pillow, bring a breastfeeding pillow with you. I don't know if your hospital would even have one. We used to have them at the hospital that I worked at, but people would steal them and stuff. So I think after a while, I don't know if they were still putting them out there or not, but it's kind of annoying. It's like, oh my God. People would steal anything that wasn't locked down.
Yeah.
But definitely have a pillow with you, some kind of breastfeeding pillow with you would be really helpful to get the baby positioned well. And make sure you use the staff. Definitely use a lactation consultant. Make sure that they see the baby latched on. Make sure that they help you with positioning if you're unsure about positioning. And that goes for everybody. Everybody who's first time baby, especially, or your first time breastfeeder. Make sure you use the staff. Let them help you, because that's what they are there for. And then when you go home, you're still recovering. Keep that in mind. You've got 3 other kids at home. So that's for Stevie. She got 3 other kids at home. But, it definitely happens where it's your second baby and you had a C-section. You've got another kid. That's how it was for me. I had another kid at home.
Yeah.
I had an upstairs bathroom. I couldn't, because they tell you don't do the stairs. They send you home with this baby and they're like, don't do the stairs. Don't pick anything up. Don't, whatever. And it's like, how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to do that?
It doesn't make any sense.
No. I mean, I had to go up and down the stairs to pee. I had another kid at home. I didn't have that much help. I mean, I had a little help, not a lot. And I remember feeling that incision just burning because I couldn't not move around.
Yeah.
The more you can relax, the better. Really let yourself heal. Just let yourself heal, because if you have complications with the incision and stuff, that's going to really put things back even more. And then you've got a baby that wants to eat every 3 hours, so you got to sit down anyway. So
yeah. Yeah. I don't know how old the other kids are, but help make them work if they can.
Make them work.
If they're old enough to do stuff, like that'll keep them busy. And they can go get things.
Yeah, they can go get things for you.
Or and now, it's before you are there in the hospital bringing the baby home. Have like one of those little rolly carts and put all kinds of stuff on it, snacks and, towels and your phone and your charger and like all the stuff that you're going to need, and have it like by, a nice comfortable chair. And you can wheel it around if you need to. Wheel it into the bed.
Yeah. I used to have people that would sleep like on their couch for a while because there was a bathroom nearby.
Yeah.
The couch felt much more stable. It was easier to get out of up and down from the couch than it was the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have people that do that, and they get to keep the bassinet right next to them. Yeah. Don't bed share on a couch. Do not bed share on the couch. But you can sleep there if you feel a little bit more stable and it's easier for you to get up and down than it is. Because it can be, your core muscles are shot.
Oh my God.
Just from being pregnant. Yeah. But once you have a C-section too, like getting up and down is really hard.
Yeah.
So you want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
And I'm a big proponent of, in those early days, or forever if you want, of like paper plates, plastic forks and spoons, disposable cups, just like making cleaning up easier until you can get a handle on things. You don't need more work. And don't worry, it's not our paper plates that are destroying the planet.
I know.
So
make things a little bit easier for yourself in all the ways that you can, because there's ways that you can't make things easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, the breastfeeding piece of it, the baby's going to do what babies do. They're going to eat every couple of hours. They're going to want to be on you all the time. They're going to want to be attached to you. They're going to be, get a carrier, something like that where you don't have to, where you can, just have the baby on you and not have to worry about getting up and down a lot to pick them up and all that stuff. If they're just kind of strapped to you in a carrier, that's going to be a lot easier for you to manage other things, especially if you're managing other children.
Can you wear a carrier with a C-section?
If they're up high enough, yeah, because the C-section's really low.
Yeah. If you like Moby, those like fabric wrap ones would be good, and you can tie it real tight and keep the baby up on your chest. If their baby's just sleeping and is more peaceful sleeping on your chest, then you can
for sure,
strap them that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to keep things to a minimum. They're like, the doctor's offices, oh my God, they're like, oh yeah, come in for all these doctor's appointments. When I worked in the pediatric office, I always felt so bad, to have families to bring them back or whatever for weight checks and stuff if they had C-sections. Because it was like, come on, And during COVID was awful because they wouldn't let more than one parent in. And it's like, she had a C-section. She can't carry this shit.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Let her partner in. It was ridiculous.
And they're together. Like what?
Right.
It doesn't
Right. It didn't make any sense.
They equal one person when it comes to COVID exposure anyway. Like,
oh, people were just crazy during COVID.
It was
just
crazy.
Crazy.
It was wild. We just,
Let's pretend it never happened.
So many. One thing that COVID gave us was drive-up orders at Target and stores. So that was a nice addition.
That has not gone away. Yeah, that has not gone away.
And honestly, like staying in the hospital a shorter time is not a bad thing, because the hospital is just, depending on where you are, maybe you're in a place that's really great. They're really supportive of breastfeeding. They're really, helping you. But you could be in a place that like they're just like not that helpful with breastfeeding, and, staying there longer just kind of gets you out of a rhythm, keeps you longer from, getting home and getting into a routine. And, it's not necessarily a bad thing to get out of there.
Especially when you have other kids at home.
Yeah.
You can feel like you need to just go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, your milk will probably be in a little bit sooner, which means your baby's going to start getting fed a little bit more. C-section deliveries, babies usually drop weight a little bit more because of the fluids and things like that. So that's not uncommon that we see them dropping a little bit more weight. Plus, they're watching it a little bit more because you're in the hospital usually an extra day. Yeah. So you see that weight drop a little bit more. So that, try not to get nervous about that. That's pretty common. But I feel like there's really when it comes to breastfeeding after a C-section delivery, the things that are important are making sure you're getting that skin to skin time, making sure that you are positioning the baby into a place that's comfortable for you, that you can easily get the baby in and out of.
Yeah.
I mean, if the nurse comes in and she's like, oh, let's put all these pillows here and let's put this here and let's do this and let's put that's not going to you need to be able to do this on your own too, once you're home. So being able to get yourself in and out of those positions when you're, working with an incision is really important. So make sure you're comfortable. And we can't wait to hear what happens.
I know. Yeah.
Stevie.
I'll keep in touch with Stevie and we can give updates as
for sure.
Baby's here.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody else has tips that they want to share, you can shoot us an email.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. I asked the internet. Oh my God. I forgot until right now. I asked the internet. Wait, we need to read the tips real quick. Holy crap. Don't go away yet. I've completely forgot. It's a manageable amount too. Sometimes it's like 100 comments and I'm like, but it's not like that. There's good amounts. So I asked people if they have any tips. Skin to skin after birth. This person had 3 C-sections. Consistently feeding the baby from birth, even if nothing was coming out. Something's coming out. But milk did always within the first days, and I never let the nurses give my baby bottles. Safe co-sleeping, supportive and understanding partner. This person pumped. Milk came in on day 3. Latch a lot, skin to skin, and keep a water intake. Spend a lot of time rocking in a chair in the bedroom while I nurse my baby to get my body moving before walking around too much. Oh, that's a good idea. Because when you're rocking, you're kind of like using your body.
Yeah, using those muscles a little bit.
Getting a good lactation consultant. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. It was my birth plan for immediate skin to skin and for all procedures and measurements to wait until after the golden hour. I also asked for the least amount of painkillers, having mostly local anesthesia. But you can have the pain meds. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Be patient with yourself. Eat, drink. It's true. My best friend nursing pillow is a recommendation from this person. Let's see. That one's really long. Sorry. Don't give up. Trust your gut. Find a good supportive pillow. Breastfed my twins. First baby was in the NICU for 2 days. I did lots of hand expression and in between the feeds. Let's see. A lot of people are really into skin to skin.
Yeah.
Which is good.
They really don't. I mean, there's been research done on it, and they really show that C-section delivery babies get way less skin to skin time than vaginal delivery babies.
I think that makes sense because it's just more intervention.
Mm-hmm.
This Elizabeth says football hold, side lying in the bed for nursing positions. Rest as much as you can.
That's important.
Yeah. My milk had not really come in yet because I was early, but I was able to stimulate it by feeding the formula through a small tube as the baby was latched. So they used an SNS system. Hopefully you don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe there are a lot of comments. Well, I'll just send everybody over to the Badass Breastfeeder Facebook page or the Badass Breastfeeder Instagram. And there's a pink image that says, did you breastfeed after cesarean birth? What are your best tips and tricks? And people are commenting who have been through it. So please read through those because that's going to be helpful to hear it from the people who are doing it.
Yeah, from people who've done it. Now, if it is your first baby, sometimes it takes milk an extra day or so to come in just because of the trauma, and there's more blood loss with a cesarean delivery and stuff like that too. But like I said, this is her fourth baby for Stevie, so her milk shouldn't be delayed. But usually first time C-section deliveries can be a delayed response. So that's another reason why we see a little bit more weight loss with those babies as well.
But it's normal, and you can get through that.
Yeah, it's normal, and you can get through it for sure. You can get through it.
All right, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.